We're talking about how COVID-19 is changing us. I'm Ann Tucker, and this is the Spirit Means Business YouTube channel. We have episodes every week coming out on Monday mornings, so I hope you'll subscribe using that little button over there. So COVID-19 is when I channel on this virus, and what's come up for me not only in one-on-one sessions recently, but also when I tune into the energy that's happening here and around the planet. And we here being Seattle, the epicenter of the US, what I'm seeing is an image of the energy, all of us, it's sort of in a spin, like spinning this cyclone that we've been in up until now. The activity, all of the worry, the consumerism, the activity of our daily lives, the business as usual, that the way that we have been living up until now, and all of that energy, all of the occupation and preoccupation that we have with the minutia of our lives, creates a sort of a swirl of energy around us. And if you're going to try to reverse something, if you think about a globe, or like if you've got one of those spinning merry-go-rounds on the playground, and if it's going in one direction and you want to turn it around and go it in a different direction, well, you have to bring it to a pause, right? You'll slow it down and slow it down and slow it down, but you can't just slow it down and then whip it back and return it. It has to slow down as the momentum comes to a full stop, and then it returns and reverse it. You can reverse it at that point and go in another direction. That is what I see happening with this virus. I see that the sort of larger spiritual effect of this virus is that it's bringing us all to a place of pause. That we, in our normal lives, we're so caught up in the busyness of our lives, and in order to make this shift from our third dimensional thinking which is this feeling of other and being separate and being apart from each other, into the fifth dimensional thinking, which is a feeling of oneness and being connected, that it takes more than just a leap. It's going to take a pause, that it's going to take a slowing down of all of the energy. And as I see it, as I look at the energy across the globe, it's happening not all at once. It happens in spurts, right? As it happens for each of us separately and individually. And I know for myself, I started experiencing this pause almost a month ago, where I had a week where all of my appointments got canceled, like literally my social engagements and my work meetings. I had 5 different things cancel randomly. One is a guy that I was working with literally accidentally fell asleep very cutely with his children when he was putting to bed and missed our late night meeting. And but just stuff like that, random stuff, where I had all of these things that were happening, and at the same time I came down with a little cold, not the coronavirus, but a little cold, and everything that just caused me a pause, slowed me down and caused me a pause. And I wouldn't think as much of this, except then I started seeing the exact same thing happen in other people's lives. I had a client who when she came in, she was really feeling lonely and frustrated. As we began, she's a regular client, we were beginning her session, and she said that all of her appointments had just been canceled, and she was feeling really lonely and isolated. And I thought, that's interesting, because I went through that exact same thing. And it's part of this pause. And as I tuned into her energy, we began to work together. I began to see this image of the energy slowing and the momentum slowing, and then the reversal, that pause creating the reversal. And then I look broader, and when I look at the planet, and I see that same exact thing happening for us as individuals and for populations and cities. So there's this awakening. It doesn't have to happen for everybody all at once. It can happen for each of us. This pause and reverse can happen for each of us on our own schedule, right, as it works within our timeline. But when you think of that as this opportunity, this slowing, this pause, what is happening, right? Because energy, we know energy never wants to stay in the same place. Energy has to move. So if we are slowing our lives down through this quarantine, through people separating themselves from groups and canceling, in our area, Microsoft has allowed all of its employees to work from home. So has a lot of the other employers in the area. People are voluntarily self-quarantining. And so there is this pause. The roads aren't as busy, places are empty, it's quiet. And so in that pause, if energy has to still move, if energy is no longer moving at the same pace, where is it going? What's happening? What's emerging in the pause? And if you look around you and see the things that are starting to bubble up and to percolate in the absence, in the pause. And what I'm seeing is a move towards oneness. I'm seeing that the people who are voluntarily self-quarantining, they're doing that out of consideration for our most vulnerable, right? And that's the whole reason we're taking these major steps as a society at huge cost in terms of our personal economic cost, and even just of our sense of isolation, is that we're doing it out of a care for those of us who are most vulnerable, for our parents, our grandparents, for those who have illnesses that we know this would be fatal for them, and to slow down the pace of this virus so that we don't overwhelm our ability to care for them. And so that is that experience of oneness, of getting outside of ourselves, of not feeling separate, of not feeling like, oh, that's their problem, that's not my problem. Saying, no, my actions affect them. And so what can I do for the greater good? What can I do for those, because they are part of me and I am part of them? I care for them like I care for myself, right? And so that sort of making self-sacrifices, and this is, even in the Catholic religion, so that's the whole concept of Lent, is giving something up, right? And making that self-sacrifice. Here we are making that sacrifice for oneness, for each other, which I think is wonderful. And there's also in this pause a stepping away from the consumerism and the busyness, and that does have economic difficulties for some of us, right? There's as this gets unwound, it's not a pretty process. I understand that there are people who their jobs are at risk, or they're not making the income that they're used to, and I know that's really scary. And I know that, for example, in the fashion world, that because even though they are trying to work over Skype and things like that, but it's such a seasonal business that their summer collection is not going to be ready by summer. They literally will miss a season. But what does that mean for us in terms of how we're spending our money, how we're spending our attention and spending our focus? And is that really the best place for us to put it? Is on spending and on fast fashion and those kinds of ideas? Is this maybe an opportunity to look at those areas and see how can this energy be expressed in a way that is meeting deeper needs, that's supporting us in terms of the things that are going to make us really happy. So slowing down away from more of the consumerism perspective. What are we doing with our time anyways? If we're not at the mall shopping, what are we doing? Kate brought home a puzzle. We're putting together a puzzle together. If people are out on walks, people are doing things that are quieter, that are more giving them the space and the time to go inside and to feel and to experience in a quieter way, to experience and rest and be with the pause and to feel it and to allow it to sort of permeate their life and to allow all of the ways in which we spend our time to fall into question. The other thing that I'm seeing is acts of service beginning to emerge, which is wonderful. I've had friends email me or text me saying, hey, I'm going to Trader Joe's. Do you need anything? I've seen people offering babysitting for those people who for healthcare workers that are at the hospital and don't have their children in school. What happens to all the kids that aren't in school and the parents that still need to work? And I see people stepping in and helping each other. And that those acts of service I see is that step towards oneness. That's what's emerging, what's bubbling up out of this pause. And I find that to be really, really exciting. And the other thing that gets me thinking about this from a spiritual perspective and how things all fit into meaning, into creating meaning out of our experience, this quarantine, like our schools here are closed until the end of April. So we're really looking at like a 2-month period of really significant disruption. And what's interesting is it takes 66 days to form a new habit. Basically 2 months is how long it takes to form a new habit. And that's from Philippa Lawley out of a study that she did at the University College of London. So because I know previously people said it was 21 days, that actually is not entirely true. That is really sort of like the shortest amount of time that you can use to create a habit. What they found, the average amount of time, the average for all of us, is 66 days. And that's about what we're being given here. We're being given about 66 days, about 2 months, to sort of quiet and be in the pause and to feel it and to give us enough time to allow for what's going to emerge. So how does this apply for you and your business? And what are businesses doing right now? And I think the important thing is, and this is true now, but it's true always, that in your business, we want to always stay focused on the problem that we're solving. And we never want to show up and say, hey, here's my service that I offer. Anybody want it? Right? Here's this thing I can do. Who wants it? What we want to do instead is say, I'm listening to you and to your problem. What is it that you're struggling with now? And what can I offer that's of value that might help you with that problem? And that principle is true always, but especially true during times of major change. Because when everything is unwound, when all the energy is unraveled and we're left with this stillness, that's the moment for newness to emerge, for things to shift, for that's the break in the fence that allows you to get through, right? This is as much of an opportunity for you to redefine yourself and your business and how you're spending your life, right? This is it's fresh, it's open. And I look in the Seattle area, I see businesses stepping into that and responding to the problems that need to be solved in a way that allows them to not only keep their employees employed, keep their businesses open, but might lead to different forms of business for them, might open up new ways of serving that they didn't have before. One is, I just saw that Canlis, which is a Seattle institution, a restaurant that has been around forever. It's like the place you go for important events, gorgeous view. It's known for having amazing service. Like it's one of the top ranked, is up there with like Zappos shoes and stuff like that, with having like incredible customer service. And they have just now announced that they're closing their dining room, and instead they're doing takeout, which a lot of the restaurants in the area are doing. They're just saying, okay, hey, you don't want to come in, let me bring the food to the curb to you. And they're offering, breakfast, lunch, and dinners, different varieties, so that they can keep their employees employed, and offering people, food that they can take. And family meals, offering family-sized meals that people can take and bring home for their whole family, which I think is really, really cool. Another example is the Metropolitan Opera. So maybe you've never listened to an opera, right? Opera may not always get the headlines or the main, our popular culture interest. So right now, while everybody is in this pause, everyone is home, everyone is quiet, well, they are putting their opera online for free, which is an act of service, yes, but it also opens them up to the potential of exposing a bunch of new people to what they offer without eroding their regular price structure, because these are special circumstances. So it gives them an opportunity to get more opera out into the world. So think for yourself in terms of your business. What are the ways in which you can be of service right now? What are the problems that people are struggling with? And how can you be of service in that context, right? Or how can you adjust your service? So I know a lot of yoga studios are going online with their classes and offering yoga online. People still want community. People still want connection. So right, their need for that is still there. So and they can still come together online and have a yoga class in that context. So in this interest, I think in terms of what we can do right now, in terms of helping us to work with this energy as opposed to working against it, and to help it move through us in a faster way, so that we can protect those who are most vulnerable. I think it's really important that we are not in resistance to this pause, that we're not feeling, and it's natural, there's going to be some part of you that may be disappointed that something you were looking forward to gets canceled, right? That an event gets canceled, or that you're not able to see your friends. Maybe you are feeling more isolated. And so there may be some, disappointment and even resentment there about what's going on. And there may be, of course, a lot of fear in our environment. And even though I think this is, like I said, the idea here is to allow this pause in a way that allows it to flow through you in the same way that you would allow an emotion to pass through you. If you have an experience of anger or frustration, you allow that to move through you and you don't hang on to it. And it's okay to have it, you just don't want to trap it inside your body. So I'd like to offer you right now to do a brief meditation together that's going to help you to embrace the pause. So if you want to take a moment and gather yourself and center yourself, and let's go ahead and close our eyes and take a nice deep breath. And let's first ground. So if you could imagine a nice thick root or a cord or a vine that's going down from your tailbone down through the floor and down into the ground, and then down through the layers and layers and layers of the earth, following it all the way down to the very center of the earth. And there, when it reaches the center of the earth, you can feel it tether and attach so that you are nice and tautly attached to the earth. Feel that line, that vine, root, or cord become taut as it becomes strongly attached. And you can feel it going all the way up your spine. Now, from the bottom of each of your feet, go ahead and drop down another root or a cord that goes down through the floor, all the way to the ground, and then down into the earth, and follow that down just about 8 feet. And there, feel it spreading wide in all directions like the roots of a tree, so you're supported from side to side. All right. Now go ahead and take a lovely, quiet and slow breath, and bring that breath in, and bring that breath to the very center of your being. Bring it right down into your diaphragm, and allow that breath to settle into your diaphragm, and move your conscious awareness down into that breath as it rests in your diaphragm, and see the stillness, the quietness of that breath in the center of your being, and move your awareness there in the center, and begin to feel around you like you're in a bubble of silence, a bubble of quietness. This breath is holding you there, and allow it. As you do, feel the quietness, feel the silence in your ears, and feel the stillness of the air around you. Now take another breath in, a second breath of stillness, of pause. Breathe that second breath in and bring it down to the diaphragm, and add it to the first, and feel that pause that's in the center of you become just a little bit bigger. As it moves out, feel the stillness moving wider in your system. And as it does, feel the energies, feel each of the cells that it's encompassing, feel it begin to slow. Feel the frantic energy, all of the motion in your body begin to slow and come into a state of pause. Moving it outwards very gently in all directions. And take another beautiful, peaceful breath of pause, breathing that in and bringing it down to the diaphragm and adding it to the other two. And as you bring that third breath in, feel that pause expand all the way out to the outer limits of your body, moving it up very, very gently. Feel the peace emerging as it's moving up into your head, behind your eyes, filling up your ears, calming your mind, and then down, all the way down through your arms and wrists and into your hands and all the way out to your fingertips, and pushing out any busyness, any thoughts of things you have to do, any worries are being displaced and pushed out and replaced by this lovely feeling of pause, of silence and quiet, moving down through the legs, through the thighs and the knees, moving down through the shins and calves, all the activity the going here and there is being pushed out and replaced all the way down into the feet and the toes with this lovely sense of pause. And feel yourself suspended for a moment. Suspended, and the potential of that suspension. Feel the potential that comes from the energy that's built up in you, holding in this lovely sense of pause, the opportunity, the possibility, what could emerge. And allow yourself to stay in that pause for just a moment, just resting in it, being at ease and in comfort with this feeling. The feeling of just observing and allowing, recognizing your infinite potential with no need to express it right now. You're just in pause. Now breathe in another beautiful, gentle breath of pause, bringing that in right down to the center of you. And as you do, feel the pause that's in your body moving out beyond your skin, out to fill all of your energy bodies, out through your aura, all the way out. And as it builds, moving out, creating stillness, quieting all of the thoughts, the feelings, the emotions that have been floating in your energy body, quieting them all, bringing all of that energy, all of the motion, all of the frequencies that have been moving through there, bringing them all down to pause, down to quiet. Stilling all parts of you. And one more breath in, quiet and peaceful, down to the center of you, and as that comes in and joins the rest, feel this beautiful pause spreading out beyond you, out into the room that you're in, and out into the town that you're in, filling the city that you're in, filling your life, all of the parts of your life. Feel it spreading through your business, embracing the pause. Feel it spreading through your relationships, the energy of your relationships. And feel what beautiful things can emerge from this pause. And now feel it moving even further outside of yourself, connecting with the oneness, connecting with everyone around you, and connecting with the world, all the way around the world. Feel this pause spreading. One more lovely deep breath, and exhale. And open your eyes. So I hope that was helpful to you. The idea here is just to become okay with this feeling of pause, to allow it and to embrace it and to look within the pause for what's emerging for you, for how it's changing you and how it might change your business. I'll see you next week on Monday here on the Spirit Meets Business channel.